Tweakers, thrill freaking seekers. This is another episode of freaking Our Week in a Review on WAYO LP Rochester. Also freaking iTunes, SoundCloud, freaking Google freaking Play, YouTube, and freaking Spotify. Tweakers, I am freaking Taylor, the freaking Sandman Lofton. With me as always to my freaking left is freaking Doug Jordan. And then coming all the way from freaking Seattle, New York, freaking Seattle, freaking Washington, freaking Sandy the Sandman, freaking Farkas. Gentlemen, start your engines. This is freaking Our Week in freaking Review. Weakers, tweakers, thrill seekers, we are so glad to have you freaking back. We have a great episode for you this week, and geez Louise, down on my knees, how do you freaking do? Because Sandy the Sandman freaking Farkas has a lot to say, never short of freaking words. Sandy, how do you do, and how freaking are you?
I gotta tell you, I'm a lot freaking today than I was freaking last night, and that has everything to do with the fact that I finally had to finally got the remove the freaking feeding tube, and I am a freaking single freaking man. Excuse me, Doug, don't ever freaking cough while I'm doing my thing. The horniness is greater than freaking ever.
So you have broken up with your freaking tiny freaking ugly midget girlfriend, and you are back on the freaking open freaking market, host of a freaking radio show out there in freaking Seattle, freaking Washington, a freaking morning show. And geez Louise, down on my knees, how'd you freaking do it, and how freaking hard was it cutting the umbilical cord from basically a freaking woman that is the size of a freaking baby? So I think the umbilical cord is fitting.
Yeah. Okay, so the freaking situation goes like this. Basically, I'm in freaking hot water again at work. Basically, just because I'm not freaking, as they freaking put it, not freaking performing well. And they found out that I'm still doing this freaking show, which they told me I'm not freaking supposed to do. I'm not supposed to be freaking doing this freaking show.
Yeah.
So I freaking leave work. I'm freaking upset. Guess who I go freaking drinking with? You guessed it, freaking Dave, my freaking roommate. Freaking old man freaking roommate. Yeah. I go freaking drinking with Dave. We knock a few freaking back. I get back home. Guess who's freaking there? My freaking lady friend, and she's all upset with me. Guess what? Freaking Dave starts freaking hurling, freaking spewing, freaking puking in the freaking toilet, and I'm freaking begging her. I'm saying, look, this is over. You need to freaking leave. You need to freaking get out of here. And she keeps pointing at him like she's all distressed because he's in having a freaking issues. And you know what I freaking did? And I'm not freaking proud of this.
Yeah, what'd you do?
I freaking scooped her up. And I freaking put her outside. And I freaking locked her.
Doug Jordan, your freaking fresh take. Go ahead.
Well, I mean, I thought that she was the one that broke up with you initially, so I don't know. So, I mean, I guess congratulations on finally pulling the cord, or are you upset? Do you feel like maybe you made a mistake?
Wow, Doug. Thank you. Wow, that freaking means a lot. Freaking means a lot freaking coming from you. What was your freaking question? Did I make a mistake? No, Doug, I freaking put her outside, locked the freaking door. Best freaking decision I ever freaking made.
Now, she's a tiny little freaking person, so you were able to just pick her up, her little feet dangling and swashing back and forth as you carry her out. I'm sure she protested a bit, but nobody likes being freaking picked up and set outside. Now, you lock the freaking door. She's out. What was she so mad about in the first place? Maybe the fact that you got freaking Dave drunk, as he is a freaking recovering alcoholic, that's clearly off the freaking wagon.
The freaking issue is I never freaking understand what she was freaking mad at me about. Because I'm almost freaking certain we don't freaking speak the same language.
Yeah.
Never can tell because I'm freaking drunk as a freaking Dickens. As was freaking Dave. He seems to understand her a little bit more than I do, but he might have a freaking another freaking language under his freaking belt. Not I. And Yeah, she's probably angry that she never liked the only thing I could ever understand her say was no drink, no drink, no drink, and I would say yes, drink.
Jeez Louise, down on my freaking knees. That's freaking hilarious. Well, Sandy, I hope you find someone freaking soon, and jeez Louise, good for you for breaking it off, and I hope soon that you will actually break it off with freaking Dave, because I have a feeling this guy, jeez Louise, down on my knees, he's probably just using you for the freaking radio show and trying to become your new best freaking friend, and obviously that won't be able to freaking happen. So
he's freaking hilarious.
Wait, I mean, when you said that you don't speak the same language as your ex-girlfriend, did she not speak English at all?
Doug, what the does it sound like? What? I've been talking about this for freaking weeks. Yeah, I don't freaking think she speaks freaking English.
Did you just realize that, or the whole relationship she's just not been speaking the same language?
Doug, this is old.
Doug,
this is old.
For the love of freaking God. Yeah.
Go back and listen to the
check
freaking tapes. Jeez Louise, down on my freaking knees, Doug. If you check the tapes, you'll hear that Sandy established the language barrier early on in the freaking relationship and early on in the freaking show and the saga of Sandy dating a tiny little ugly now, Doug Jordan just started a new freaking job. How do you do? How does it go? And how freaking horny are you?
I'm not sure why the last question is relevant, but the new job's been going pretty good. I've been working a lot. I wake up early in the morning. I got to get all the fish loaded in the truck, and then I go to restaurant to restaurant, and I unload the freaking fish. So.
For Weakers and Tweakers out there, Doug Jordan picked up an early morning freaking shift this morning, and actually on the day of this freaking recording, he has already delivered his freaking shipment of fish. He smells freaking rank as the freaking Dickens, and geez Louise, down on my knees. It's a real freaking and the thing is, Weakers and Tweakers out there should know this. I am one that can put up with a lot of foul freaking smells, but the smell of freaking dead fish all over freaking Doug Jordan, it's in his hair, it's on his freaking herpes, it's all over his freaking body, just like the freaking herpes, and it is causing me much freaking nasal freaking consternation. I cannot explain enough to Weakers and Tweakers out there that this is an uncomfortable situation. Doug Jordan, something that I was thinking about, because I have struggled to picture you, I have struggled to perfectly imagine you in this position as a freaking fish freaking salesman, fish, whatever you do, freaking delivering freaking fish. And then it freaking occurred to me what you are freaking doing, and I connected it to the. Do you know who freaking New Zealand is?
No.
He's a freaking Muppet who freaking throws a freaking fish boomerang around, and I said, geez Louise, down on my knees, that's why they freaking hired you, because you look just like that freaking guy.
I never even freaking thought about that before. You look just freaking like that freaking guy.
Yeah, his name's freaking New Zealand. He's a freaking vaudeville performer with a freaking boomerang freaking fish. And now it all makes freaking sense. You're driving around in a truck, flinging fish at freaking restaurants left and freaking right, whether they ordered it or not. And geez Louise, down on my knees. Is there anything more freaking hilarious than that? But you freaking stink.
I mean, I am not familiar with this Muppet. I can just say that I like delivering fish.
Apparently,
wait, Doug. Why are you not freaking familiar with the freaking Muppet?
I mean, I just can't think. I know the staple Muppets. I know freaking Kermit and the one with the big nose. I know that one. The blue guy.
So you don't know, you seem, well, geez Louise, down on my knees, this guy wasn't on freaking Muppet Babies, so apparently you didn't see it, because, he was on the regular freaking Muppet Show and in the freaking movies, which were freaking hilarious. And he's just carrying around a freaking boomerang fish and throwing it around to people. If fish comes right back, he's always freaking trying to hawk it. Kind of like a fish oil salesman, except it's freaking, a snake oil salesman, except it's freaking fish. So.
Why are you talking about the chef? You couldn't understand what the chef was saying?
No. That's the.
I got my freaking girlfriend looked kind of like the freaking chef. Sounded like her too.
Where the Swedish chef?
Yeah, the Swedish chef. I gotta tell you, freaking sounded just like him when we were in freaking bed.
That's freaking disgusting. So, Weakers, Tweakers, just real quick before we move on, why don't we go through favorite freaking Muppet babies? Doug Jordan, apparently you know the least about Muppets, so why don't you go ahead and say?
I guess Kermit would probably be my favorite.
All right, let's just skip to the freaking meat of this. Would you or would you not have sex with freaking Miss Piggy?
No, because she's a freaking puppet.
Okay, but not as the baby, not from Muppet Babies, but when she's full grown as a freaking woman, a woman freaking pig. Jeez Louise, down on my knees with those sturdy freaking legs. Everybody was trying to freaking have sex with her back in those old movies. So, I'm not really sure. I'm pretty sure I freaking would, and I'm pretty sure I basically freaking have in my mind while freaking laying in my freaking bed doing the thing that we always freaking do when we're all freaking alone, and all of us here freaking do it, and you can freaking deny it all you want, freaking Doug Jordan, but you know you freaking do it, you freaking touch yourself. And sometimes a thought pops into your head. Sometimes it's a freaking puppet. Sometimes it's a freaking Muppet. And sometimes, geez Louise, down on my knees, you wish you had a freaking sock puppet to freaking basically give you a freaking job, if you know what I mean. How come people don't have sex with puppets more often? That seems like a thing that should exist.
I feel like if you're having sex with a puppet, you're just basically masturbating, right? I mean, you're using your own hand, so...
Yeah, I freaking masturbate constantly. Weakers and tweakers out there know that, though. Sandy the Sandman Farkas, favorite freaking Muppet?
Is this a freaking favorite Muppet to freaking have sex with, or is this what is the freaking? Ask me the honest to God freaking question.
Yeah, obviously we're gonna try to skew it that way. Favorite Muppet to have sex with, or also just most hilarious one to have freaking sex with. I'm gonna go ahead and say freaking Yoda would be my freaking favorite one to have freaking sex with. And he's a freaking tiny little green turtle from freaking some of the Muppet movies called freaking Star Wars.
Yeah, out of all the freaking Muppet movies, I gotta say my favorite Muppet movie is probably freaking Star Wars. And when freaking Yoshi starts freaking teaching freaking Luke Skywalker how to freaking use his freaking lightsaber, holy cow, geez Louise, down on my freaking knees, freaking hilarious Muppet movie. Music, the music is freaking great. And if I'm freaking down on my freaking knees, you bet it. Yeah, I'm gonna freaking have sex with freaking Yoda.
Yeah.
Or at the very least, have him give me a freaking blow on my freaking fingers if my freaking hand is inside of him.
Jeez Louise, down on my knees, Weakers, Tweakers, Thrill Seekers. I'm sure we've all felt that way at one time or another. Also, I would also like to say freaking Lando would be a great freaking lay, but that is neither freaking here nor there. So, Weakers, Tweakers, Thrill Seekers, we got a great show for you. But before we move on, I do want to talk about my freaking week. The reason we have Tadia Risher is not here is because we have an early freaking taping, and he could not get a freaking room to call in via satellite freaking New York at this freaking time in the freaking YMCA. It was a scheduling freaking conflict. The reason we had to tape this freaking episode early is because I have been invited as a freaking guest of freaking honor down to my home freaking town of freaking Rochester, New York, to appear on a freaking taping of a freaking courtroom freaking drama. And geez Louise, down on my knees, I got to be in there very, very freaking early tomorrow morning, which would be Monday, the freaking, what is that, the 21st and 22nd? I think it's the 22nd. Yeah.
I think you're right.
Tomorrow it's the freaking 23rd. The day we're taping this is the freaking 23rd.
Okay, so tomorrow we will be, I am invited to be the guest of freaking honor down at the freaking courts, and I have to be there very freaking early. It said attendance is an absolute freaking must, and for Weakers and Tweakers, it's an absolute freaking honor to finally be recognized for my achievements, I assume, in freaking radio and freaking podcasting. So, geez Louise, down on my knees, I'm so excited, and it's a great honor. That is why we were taping this episode early.
Why would they give you an honor at a courtroom?
Listen, Doug, for what?
For a podcast.
Because I'm a freaking great freaking, I'm a great freaking podcaster, also a great freaking radio host of the freaking show.
My freaking question is so is this a freaking Judge freaking Judith? Is this, freaking Judge Judy, or a freaking People's Court, or a freaking Judge freaking Joe freaking Brown?
Right.
Which one is this?
I would love it to be freaking Joe Brown because he is my favorite freaking judge, and he always has been, and he always freaking will be. But it isn't, and I'm not exactly sure. I do know that I got a letter. It was actually they attempted to deliver it directly to me, the great honor, but unfortunately I was not freaking available and home. I did get a freaking letter saying that they were looking for me, that they needed me to freaking turn myself in for the award freaking ceremony. And that, geez Louise, down on my knees. I better be at freaking downtown, basically town hall tomorrow morning. Otherwise, I won't be getting the freaking award. So
you're in freaking trouble. You're not getting an award. You're in freaking trouble.
Yeah. Did it say freaking summons or what?
It said a warrant. It said it was an warrant for my a warrant to freaking Taylor Lofton, and so hopefully that freaking a warrant is going to be made into some sort of trophy or statuette, and I will be receiving it, maybe a medal of some kind, I imagine.
Yeah, Doug, you've probably freaking figured out what this is, what this is, right?
Yeah. So it's you're in trouble. I mean, you're not getting a warrant. Well, you're getting an award.
Yeah.
You're not getting an award.
What are you freaking talking about?
What I gathered from this is you are confusing a freaking warrant with a freaking award, which is something you freaking do constantly. You've mistaken the fact that you are a ward of the state, which means you are freaking incapable of freaking taking care of yourself, and you think that that's a freaking award. I know you're still freaking expecting it to come, and you'll never freaking receive that award. So a warrant is actually a freaking a warrant, which I would assume is for one of the many freaking crimes that you foolishly commit.
So
my guess would probably be the freaking when you freaking broke into a vet and freaking set all the freaking animals free.
So what you're saying is they're going to see now. I don't see the freaking connection here because for weakers and tweakers out there that know, I broke into a vet, Renarian's office to retrieve my freaking stolen mustache, freaking Hitler mustache cat named freaking Donovan 2. And geez Louise, down on my knees, I was unable to find him. I set all the animals freaking free, and what you're telling me is they're giving me a freaking award for that freaking act, which I'm pretty sure is a freaking illegal thing to freaking do, and I could be freaking arrested if they ever freaking identified me off of the freaking tape.
Yeah, so, I mean, I think you just summed it up there. They identified you off of the tape, and now that there's a warrant out for your arrest, and they're probably going to charge you for something.
Well, we shall see tomorrow freaking morning. I'm pretty sure I'll be there freaking collecting a freaking award for basically my outstanding performance. If it's not an award for my performance in freaking radio, then it's an award for my freaking service to this freaking country. Which, for weakers and tweakers out there who know, I have been wearing a freaking officer's uniform for quite some time. I am a freaking patriot, and I am a freaking veteran of many freaking wars, including WW freaking 2 and George freaking Bush, the war in the freaking Middle East, both of them, and then also freaking Vietnam.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Well, let me unpack it. So it's not called George Bush the War. I just want to point that out real quick. And second of all, it's also illegal to impersonate somebody that was in the army or that was in the war, a veteran. So it's illegal to impersonate a freaking veteran. So you might get in trouble for that too.
What are you freaking talking about?
Don't wear the freaking uniform when you go to the freaking court.
Oh, I mean, if I'm going to pick up a freaking award, I'm not going to wear my freaking most prized possession, my freaking officer's freaking uniform. I'm not going to dress from head to toe in my freaking hilarious, freaking amazing looking officer's uniform. I think that weakers, tweakers, thrill seekers know exactly what I'll be wearing tomorrow morning when I head to the freaking court to receive my award. Weakers, tweakers, thrill seekers, we have a great freaking show for you, filled with news and discussants. And if you want to call in and comment on any of the stories that we are reading freaking today, go ahead and call 914-513-6201. That's the Our Week freaking hotline. Last week, a minor league baseball fan in Memphis was seen eating a gallon jar of mayonnaise during the local taping of the game, according to Cut 4. The sumptuous act was caught the attention of one of the Memphis Redbird cameramen, and the man's mayo journey was cataloged throughout the ninth inning stretch. No one has yet to come forward with any information about the man in freaking question. So, this is a freaking story about a man eating a freaking gallon jug of freaking mayonnaise, and guess what? Geez Louise, down on my knees. If he thinks he's the first one to freaking do that, he's not, because I freaking did that. I ate 2 gallons of them. And the second gallon was mostly freaking throw up because I kept puking and then eating the mayonnaise. It's not a freaking hard thing to freaking do. Doug Jordan?
We all know that you've eaten 2 gallons of mayonnaise, so it's. Maybe you should reach out to this guy and you should ask him to be your friend. I don't know what to say.
Doug Jordan, why don't you take it to the freaking sports desk? Geez Louise, down on my knees. Is this guy going to come after me and my freaking title, the first person in the freaking world to ever eat 2 gallons of freaking mayonnaise in under an hour and quite a bit of freaking their own throw up?
Well, no, because he only ate 1 gallon of mayonnaise, and I think that he was just watching a baseball game when he was doing it, so...
Okay, do you think that he's going to be able to is he getting ready for the freaking second freaking gallon of mayonnaise? Is that what is happening here? Is he trying to get ready to challenge me to a freaking mayonnaise off? Because geez Louise, down on my knees, I'm freaking ready, and I've been waiting for someone like this to freaking come along and to you freaking guessed it, challenge me and try to take the freaking crown, because I'll eat 3 freaking gallons of mayonnaise in an hour if I have to, and quite a bit of my own throw up.
The answer to that question would probably be he probably doesn't even know that you have eaten 2 gallons of mayonnaise.
What are you talking about?
He probably doesn't freaking
No,
know.
he's definitely listens to the freaking show.
I mean, I doubt that he listens to the show. He's from freaking Memphis.
What are you talking about, Doug? You're so freaking. So we're all over the freaking country now, Doug. This guy. Why? First of all, no one would ever go to a freaking baseball game and eat a freaking gallon of mayonnaise and let themselves be caught on camera unless they listen to this freaking show. It sounds like the most obvious. But go ahead. No, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying.
Say?
I'm just saying that you think that this guy listened to the show and heard the show, so he decided to go to a baseball game and sit in front of a cameraman and then eat a gallon of mayonnaise.
He's eating a freaking. That's what I'm saying. He's eating a freaking gallon jug of freaking mayonnaise. Obviously, he listens to this freaking show.
Yeah, he's
the
a
only
fan.
reason why anyone would go into public and do a thing like that is because they're a freaking weaker or a freaking tweaker or a freaking mayo tard.
Yeah. This guy's definitely a freaking mayo tard.
Yeah, but I mean, the whole gallon mayonnaise challenge came from a Guinness Book of World Records challenge where you read about a guy who ate a gallon of mayonnaise, and then you decided that you were going to challenge that and eat 2 gallons of freaking mayonnaise.
Jeez Louise, Doug, this is why you got to listen to the freaking tapes. We did a story about freaking unusual Guinness Book of World Records challenges, and then we came up with our own to break, and I came up with, out of the freaking clear blue sky, the idea that I would eat 2 gallons of freaking mayonnaise. I was going to just do 1, and I thought, well, why don't I just do freaking 2 gallons of freaking mayonnaise? So it had absolutely nothing to do with a story. It had everything to do with my own freaking heart's desire. And if you remember correctly, Tadia Risher came up with a freaking great idea, too, to drive for an hour straight with his freaking eyes closed. And he almost freaking did it, too. And I was in the car right freaking next to him. So, Weakers, Tweakers, Thrill Seekers, and this gentleman from freaking Memphis, bring it on, because the freaking mayo tard in me basically will be ready for any challenge when it comes to eating freaking mayo. And yes, I could easily do 3 and maybe even freaking 4. So if you'd like to have started off on a challenge, go ahead and call 914-513-6201. Last week, after the passage of a new law, an Alabama megachurch announced its plans to form its very own police force, according to CNN. The law, signed by Governor Kay Ivey, allows the appointment and employment of 1 or more suitable persons to act as police officers to protect the property of the school or academy. In the wake of the new law, Bryanwood Presbyterian intends to employ security forces at the nearly all-white congregation, opening the door to fears about the church's racist history of segregation and participation in white supremacist organizations. So this freaking basically reminds me of the freaking movie Police Academy. And if for Weakers and Tweakers out there who haven't freaking seen Police Academy, it's a freaking hilarious movie about a freaking ragtag group of police force with an African-American gentleman who does freaking hilarious freaking sound effects with his freaking voice. And it's I can't tell you to go freaking see it, but it's also not in freaking theaters. But if you can get a freaking VHS copy, I highly freaking recommend it.
Freaking Steve freaking Guttenberg.
Is that whatever happened to freaking Steve freaking Guttenberg?
I'm pretty sure he freaking. I may not be. We may need to freaking fact check this, but I'm pretty sure he freaking killed himself.
And Doug Jordan, if you were Steve Guttenberg, but your life was exactly the same as the life that you live now, and you weren't an actor, but you were Steve Guttenberg, and you killed yourself, why would you do it, and how would you freaking do it?
Wait, so I'm just confused here. So
you are Steve freaking Guttenberg. It's a simple question. You are Steve Guttenberg, but your life is exactly the same. You do a freaking radio show. You do 2 radio shows, one called Doug Knows Best, one called Our Week in Review. You have a son named freaking Mike Doug Jr., but your name is freaking Steve Guttenberg. You look like you. You act like you. You're not in any freaking movies. You have sex with a guy named Sanjay. You don't have sex with your freaking wife.
Doug,
why would you kill yourself?
I want to go ahead and just make it sure that you're not freaking confused at all. If you were freaking Steve Guttenberg, but as Steve Guttenberg, your life was very much freaking Mike Doug Jordan. How would you freaking kill yourself?
Yeah, I mean, so to me, it just sounds like you guys are asking me how I would freaking kill myself. I don't think it would have anything to do with Steve Guttenberg.
Well, yeah, but your name is freaking Steve Guttenberg, and that's actually who you are. But you look just like you. What would be the reasons? What would be one reason for committing freaking suicide? Go ahead.
Doug, let me help you real quick. If you were imagine the scenario is that you are Steve Guttenberg, but instead of being Steve Guttenberg with all the freaking blessings of being Steve Guttenberg, unfortunately Steve Guttenberg has the life of freaking Mike Doug Jordan, which is you. You are freaking Steve Guttenberg. Your name is you have a son. His name is Mike Doug Jr. You have a freaking wife. She refuses to freaking make love to you. She makes love to one of your friends instead. You're riddled with freaking herpes. You have plans to build a freaking tool shed, but it takes you damn near 2 years to freaking do the freaking thing. And then once you got it, how do you freaking kill yourself?
Yeah. Do you do it in the freaking tool shed? And why do you freaking do it? That's what we really want to know, is why you freaking do it. Is it because Sanjay doesn't love you as much as you love him, or because your fake trip to Italy is being outed on the freaking radio and across the airwaves, across freaking air, freaking America? And geez Louise, is there anything on the horizon that you could even look forward to? Why would you commit freaking suicide? It's a simple question.
Yeah, but okay. But this has
also in this scenario, you are freaking Steve Guttenberg.
Yeah, okay, so it sounds a lot to me that this has nothing to do with freaking Steve Guttenberg, and you guys are just asking me how I would freaking kill myself, and then you're saying a bunch of made up stuff about me to try and make me want to freaking kill myself.
Okay, so you are missing 2 freaking huge parts to this freaking question. One is that it's not just how you would do it, but it's also why you would freaking do it, and the other is that you're freaking Steve freaking Guttenberg.
Yeah, but you keep saying that I'm Steve Guttenberg, but I'm not Steve Guttenberg, and Steve Guttenberg is just me.
No, you're freaking Steve Guttenberg. You just have this freaking same life.
You're definitely Steve Guttenberg, but you just have the life of freaking Mike Doug Jordan.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
how would you freaking do it?
You look just like you. You talk just like you. You do everything is the same, but you're freaking Steve Guttenberg.
But that doesn't even make sense. And also, Steve Guttenberg didn't freaking kill himself either, so...
Well, if Tadia was here, he'd fact check it, and geez Louise, down on my knees, I'm sure it would come back freaking positive.
I mean, I can fact check it right now. You think that Tadia's the only one that can fact check it?
Well, Tadia is the freaking one who does the fact checking on the show. So if you would please, last week, newly crowned pop queen Halsey has been the subject of controversy since appearing on the forthcoming cover of Rolling Stone's Hot Issue, where she dons unshaven armpits on the magazine's cover, according to Fox News. Some fans applauded the singer's choice to show off her underarm stubble, while others condemned the behavior for being vulgar and unnecessary. The cover also sparked comments about the Without Me singer's darker than usual complexion, causing some to point a finger toward cultural appropriation. So, geez Louise, I saw this freaking magazine cover, and it is not freaking hairy freaking armpits. It is just a little bit of freaking stubble, and I wish she was freaking hairier, and geez Louise, down on my knees. Next time, cerebral palsy, geez Louise, down on my knees. I'd love to see your freaking pits full and freaking lush with fur, and geez Louise, down on my knees. If you like to call the freaking R Week hotline, maybe send some freaking photos. Geez Louise, we'd love to share them on our freaking Instagram.
I have a freaking issue. I feel like I'm looking through the freaking video, the camera, and it looks like freaking Doug is fact checking. Can you go ahead and put a freaking stop to that?
I was just
looking.
I was looking up the magazine covers so I could see what I was talking about.
So for Weakers and Tweakers out there in freaking Radio Land, Doug Jordan has a freaking orange cell phone case with a cell phone, smartphone on the inside of the case. And yes, he is looking at a picture of freaking Halsey's freaking armpits. And Doug Jordan, since you already freaking looked at it, even though I please asked you not to, what do you think about her freaking armpits?
I think they're great. I think, honestly, with all the other stuff that's going on in the world, who cares about a woman having freaking armpit hair?
It's barely anything, though.
Yeah.
Don't you think it should be freaking more?
It's her decision if she wants more or less armpit hair.
But she's a freaking pop star, Doug Jordan. It's not her freaking decision.
Well,
it's the freaking record label's decision. And if they want her to have more freaking armpit hair, shouldn't they be able to make her have more freaking armpit hair? They basically own her. She's a freaking product of the record label.
Sandy, are you fact checking?
I'm looking. Doug, freaking fact checking. I'm looking at the freaking photo, and I gotta tell you, it looks like they freaking added that in. I don't think that's real freaking hair. I think that's freaking Photoshop.
Yeah, is it possible that freaking Halsey is completely freaking hairless everywhere, suffering from freaking alopecia, and they photoshopped in all of the freaking hair, every bit of it?
I'm pretty sure that's her hair.
Well, either way, they're trying to be freaking provocative, Doug. Learn a little bit about.
Well, the
freaking
thing about
media.
it is that you're not a freaking cerebral freaking Halsey fan like I freaking am, and I think that they freaking digitally freaking put freaking pubes on her freaking armpits, and I don't think that's real.
Well, either way, geez Louise, down on my knees. Halsey, keep doing what you're freaking doing. We all freaking love it. And if you need to let your hair down, geez Louise, down on my knees, more freaking power to you. Last week, reports that smartphone usage is linked to the growth of horns in young people's skulls made headlines after researchers at the University of the Sunshine Coast in Queensland, Australia, made their findings public, according to CNN. According to the study, horn-like protuberances in the back of youth skulls are a byproduct of bad posture as a result from smartphone usage. The publication has been the source of much debate, leading to disparaging claims by other professionals that the research doesn't hold freaking water. So this is a freaking story about freaking kids growing freaking little freaking Satan horns, and geez Louise, down on my knees. This is why freaking churches like the freaking mega church in freaking Alabama need freaking armed police militias.
To kill kids with horns in their head?
Yeah. You gotta kill them.
Yeah.
I disagree with that statement.
Because why does your...
Doug?
What'd you say?
Said they're bad kids, Doug. They got freaking horns.
They didn't choose to have the freaking horns. It's from using the smartphone.
And Doug, let me freaking clarify one thing here. I am not advocating that the freaking church militia go out and actively kill these children. That is a freaking horrible freaking thing to say on the air or on even in freaking regular conversation. What I'm saying is that if these freaking evil freaking doers start to grow in freaking numbers and they have these freaking horns and they're going around performing freaking sick Doug Jordan style satanic rituals on freaking people, they're capturing people, they're hiding little men underneath their bed to torture, and geez Louise, I'm just saying that the freaking church needs to be armed to be able to defend against this act of freaking violence and this act of freaking danger and this purely freaking evil children that with freaking horns that are sent here by the freaking devil through freaking smartphones. Apparently the freaking devil knows how to freaking social media because these kids are growing freaking horns. That's my fresh freaking take.
Do you think a gun would be, if they were really demons, do you think a gun would be able to kill a freaking demon?
No, I don't.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say freaking yes. Yeah, freaking gun is gonna kill any freaking demon. Here's and this is my freaking hot freaking take. I'm about to freaking put both of you on freaking blast. I saw the movie The Freaking Omen, right? This is a this is a movie about a little freaking, this is about a freaking devil boy. And I gotta tell you, by the end of the movie, I thought to myself, why did they just freaking kill this kid at the very freaking beginning? The whole movie, everything would have been freaking fine for everyone at the beginning. And this is a freaking issue with me when I watch freaking horror films. I go, how would I solve this freaking issue?
Yeah.
And I go, well, right from the freaking beginning, I would have taken the freaking kid and I would have freaking freaking put him in a freaking dumpster, freaking locked it.
Yeah. Or you just put him in a freaking pillowcase and put him in the bathtub. Hold him down. I mean, he's a freaking little devil kid. There's nothing wrong with
devil kid. Yeah, it's just and that's the issue with these freaking boys growing freaking horns. Yeah. Probably should get rid of it before it becomes a worse of a freaking problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, if there's a demon inside this inside of this child, there's a chance that he's gonna freaking survive.
That's a good point.
But it's a chance that you got to be willing to freaking take, because you go, I'd rather freaking try and kill this kid than just let it go.
Yeah. Yeah, he's going to take over the freaking world, and the next thing you know, there's going to be a bunch of... And you're talking about the movie Chucky, right? With Chucky starring freaking... I'm pretty sure it's starring freaking Eric Stoltz, who plays freaking Chucky in that. And, geez Louise, that movie's freaking hilarious. And, yeah, if there was 10 I would freaking cut Chucky's freaking head off. And I would take freaking Michael Myers from freaking Halloween. I'd take his mask right off and just look right into his eyes and say, well, please freaking stop. Would you please freaking stop and cut it out?
Can you believe that's freaking Mike Myers from freaking Wayne's World?
Yeah. Yeah. And my favorite freaking character that freaking Mike Myers played, yep, you guessed it, freaking Fat Bastard. Freaking hilarious freaking character. Fattest guy in the freaking world. In modern times, he would be played most likely by freaking Jonah Hill. But during that time, Jonah Hill was probably not quite fat enough yet for it. Or he was just fat enough, but he wasn't famous.
I disagree. I don't think Jonah Hill should play Fat Bastard. I think if anybody's going to play Fat Bastard, it should be Fat Bastard himself.
Yeah, the real guy.
Doug, who's your favorite freaking Austin Powers freaking character?
Fat Bastard.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a feeling.
And Sandy, how about you? Would it be the freaking mini freaking me, Vern Troyer, who rest in freaking tiny little pieces?
I gotta tell you, it's a freaking tie. It would either be between freaking Mini-Me or, yep, you guessed it, freaking Fat Bastard.
Yeah.
And the thing about it is that I really freaking love the scenes where the two of them got the freaking chance to freaking work together. Fat Bastard obviously is trying to eat freaking Mini-Me because he's the size of a freaking baby, and he's trying to get in my freaking belly, and that is just damn near the funniest freaking thing that's ever graced the freaking silver screen.
Yeah, when Fat Bastard proclaims that he has eaten a baby before and that he wants to eat a baby again because it is a delicacy, geez Louise, down on my knees, you had me in freaking stitches. And just the thought of that is gotta be the funniest freaking thing I've ever thought of that's ever been put on screen. That as a premise for a freaking joke is so freaking hilarious. That a big fat guy is so freaking hungry that he wants to eat a child. I also like freaking Goldfinger. Goldfinger was freaking hilarious. Very underrated.
Goldfinger.
Yeah.
Goldfinger.
Goldfinger was the 007 movie. Goldmember was the name of the Austin Powers movie because the joke was that he had a wiener made of freaking gold.
Got a gold freaking penis.
Freaking hilarious. Those are perfect movies. All three. All freaking perfect movies.
You know, I agree with that. I think that they are all three perfect movies, and hopefully maybe someday we'll get a number 4.
And also my other favorite character is freaking Garth. So that's all I got to say about that. Last week, news broke that Costco was selling giant 2-pound donuts that are the size of cakes, but only in select locations, according to Fox News. Unfortunately, the giant donuts are only on sale at branch locations in Australia, and no information has been given to whether the treats will arrive in the U.S. So this prompted me to a little segment I call Ideas for Other Freaking Giant Snacks from Costco. So, Doug Jordan, this is right up your alley. Why don't you take it to the freaking sports desk? What would be another great giant snack that you basically just blow up in size and it would be hilarious and freaking delicious to freaking eat? A donut is a good one, but maybe, I don't know.
Well, I want to sit here and dissect this because I was thinking about this when you just said that, and there's a lot of layers to this because my mind would say, I don't know, a giant cookie, and then I was like, well, they already did that with and it's called a freaking cookie cake.
Yeah.
So that's already one giant cookie.
Absolutely freaking delicious.
Yeah, it's a good point.
And then I was thinking, okay, maybe like a giant ho-ho or something, and then I was like, oh, they already make that. It's that cake. They just make the cake and it's big.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's a tough question.
What about, I guess I would assume that you would say maybe a giant freaking potato chip. So that instead of eating a bunch of potato chips, instead of eating 2 whole freaking bags of potato chips, you're just eating a giant freaking potato chip. You could just make a nacho out of it, and it'd basically be a nacho pizza because you melt the freaking... You melt the freaking cheese and the freaking queso and then the extra freaking cheese on top, and then you put more freaking queso on it, and it'd be freaking delicious.
Well, usually with nachos, they usually use the corn chips instead of potato chips, so that would be something else.
What the heck are you freaking talking about?
Yeah, what the f*** are you talking about?
Yeah, they use it's like the tortilla chips are made of
potato chip.
No, tortilla chips are made out of corn and not potato.
I know for a fact that's wrong.
Potato chips are something way different.
What about a freaking hilarious giant freaking raisin?
Who would want to eat a giant raisin?
And then you could put a pair of sunglasses on it and give it a microphone. It'd be freaking hilarious. Whatever happened to those freaking little raisins that sing those freaking R&B songs? What were they freaking called? What was their band called?
California Raisins.
Yeah. They should bring those guys freaking back. They should make giant freaking raisins and put life inside of them, and then they can freaking go on freaking tour.
You know what they should freaking bring back is freaking Joe freaking Camel, freaking the giant freaking leather jacket freaking clad freaking giant veiny freaking that Joe Camel was.
Yeah.
That guy. He was just the freaking coolest.
Yeah, and that's why the reason that they had freaking Joe Camel, for weakers and tweakers out there that are of a younger generation might not remember Joe Camel. Joe Camel was a freaking spokesperson for the Camel cigarettes to get kids interested because he looked like a cool looking camel shaped freaking cock. Jeez Louise, down on my knees. Who wouldn't want to put a freaking cock in their freaking mouth and freaking smoke?
Freaking smoke it, yeah.
And it was a way to get freaking kids interested in cigarettes, so it was deemed illegal. But I thought it was freaking hilarious. So, and that's actually, and that's why I first tried freaking smoking, but I couldn't do it because it made me cough too much.
See, I didn't see the. I always just thought his mouth looked like a pair of balls. He had the cigarettes in between, and then his lips looked like a pair of balls on there.
On the top of his head is what looks like a freaking and then by the bottom of his head is freaking balls. Basically, Doug, very good. You saw it, but that's freaking Doug. Freaking sees the balls, but never the.
Yeah.
Good for freaking Doug.
And the reason Doug doesn't see the shaft of the penis very often is because, yep, you freaking guessed it, he's a freaking bottom. Last week, freaking a man was stabbed on the set of the new Anne Hathaway movie, Witches, according to The Hollywood Reporter. The stabbing took place on Warner Brothers studio lot in Leavesden, Hertfordshire, in England. According to police, the victim sustained a small neck injury and was taken to the hospital to be treated for non-life-threatening wound. The information on whether Hathaway was on the set during this incident has yet to be provided. So, Anne Hathaway might be the second victim. She might be freaking dead, and she's Louise down my knees. She's freaking hot as a freaking Dickens, and I hope that she's okay because I'd love to see her in more freaking movies.
She was in when she was in freaking Batman and she was a freaking Catwoman. I've thought I damn near freaking had a heart freaking attack.
Yeah. Doug Jordan, what were you turned on by freaking Bane or something? Veiny, as they called him?
Well, why? Because you were alluding to the fact that you think that I am having an affair with my co-host on my show. You assume that I'd be turned on by Bane?
By Veiny, yeah. Because he's
we're just talking here.
Yeah, this is just
well, I mean, you asked freaking Sandy about Anne Hathaway, and you asked me about freaking Bane.
Okay, go ahead. Answer the question about Anne Hathaway. Then you find her disgusting and revolting, and if she was your wife, you would sleep next to her and never make love to her. I get it.
No, I think she's good looking.
And you take all your frustrations out on your little freaking guy you got under the freaking bed that you pull out and freaking torture.
Yeah, but I don't have a guy under the... I'm not doing this again. I said after the last show last week, I'm not going to freaking do this shit again, so I'm not going to do it again.
Okay. All right. Well, either way, so when you say you find Anne Hathaway attractive, is it in the way that, like a gay guy finds a woman, a really beautiful woman, attractive?
That just wants to be freaking friends with her and talk about her skin care.
Yeah.
And then really as you find her attractive and think that and tell her she's beautiful and want to talk to her and become friends with her, all the while freaking somebody like freaking I don't know freaking Bane is freaking out of the freaking corner of your eye and his freaking muscles are freaking rippling and you're thinking of how you want to freaking bury your freaking bury. You want to freaking see all balls and no freaking shaft once again.
Yeah, but it sounds like to me like that you guys are actually freaking attracted to Bane more than anything else. Because I haven't said a single thing about him. You're talking about his freaking rippling balls. And freaking Taylor's talking about calling him freaking veiny Baney, so it seems like you guys are freaking attracted to Bane.
I mean, for weakers and tweakers out there, everybody knows that when you first see Bane on screen, you can't help think that the guy looks like a freaking huge cock. And there's nothing freaking wrong with that. And geez Louise, down on my knees, he's a good-looking freaking guy if you've ever seen him in another freaking movie. And hopefully that the Bane freaking sequel will be coming out, although unfortunately I think he might have freaking died at the end. Now, last week at a government meeting in Alaska, several attendees were prompted to exit the public forum after an opening prayer reportedly praised Satan, according to the Associated Press. The Hail Satan prayer was introduced by Iris Fontana, a woman and Satanic Temple member who won the right to open the proceedings in any way she pleased. That which will not be bent will... Quote, that which will not... Jeez Louise, down on my freaking knees. That which will not bend must break, and that which can be destroyed by truth should never be spared as demise. It is done. Hail Satan, Fontana said, to open the meeting, according to the local radio station KSRM. After the annunciation, several people were prompted to exit the meeting. Later, a protest of about 40 people gathered around the front of the Kenai Peninsula Borough Administration building. This freaking woman, Satanist, wanted to freaking praise freaking Satan, and other people have a freaking problem with it. And this, again, is another freaking story about why the freaking church needs a freaking militia, so that freaking Satan won't freaking take over the world. Doug Jordan, do you even agree that it would be a bad thing for it to have Satan take over the freaking world, to hail Satan, to have Satan come freaking back, take over the freaking world? Yeah, well, obviously it would be a freaking bad thing. I don't know why you got to ask me that question. Well, because I guess all the freaking sinful stuff that you freaking do on your freaking private time would be forgiven by freaking Satan and maybe even looked upon charitably. The little guy in the freaking underneath your bed would no longer have to be hidden underneath your bed. You could do all of your freaking torturing in freaking plain sight, and you would be rewarded for your violence and your freaking temper. And you look like you
probably still want to keep him under the freaking bed, though.
Yeah, he looks like he's freaking boiling over right now. I'm looking at him right here.
Well, no, I mean, I'm trying to think of a way to respond to this in a way that's somewhat respectful. No, I don't have a little man under my bed, as I said the entire last week, and now I've said several times today. And also, you seem to know a lot about freaking Satan, so maybe you are actually in on maybe you freaking believe in Satan.
I absolutely believe in freaking Satan. He is the freaking antithesis of freaking God. He is the freaking nemesis of freaking God and freaking Jesus freaking nipples Christ. And jeez Louise, down on my knees, I won't have any of freaking Satan's freaking worshipers. Although weakers and tweakers, if you're a Satan worshiper, jeez Louise, if you're worshiping Satan and you like the freaking show, please tell your freaking friends about it, because we would appreciate the listeners of all faiths. And obviously we don't discriminate here at Our Week in Review on, but yeah, I do. I am a little bit nervous about freaking Satan.
Well, no, it seems like you've pulled all these stories about Satan worshipers this week, and you just keep bringing them up. So I wonder if maybe you freaking worship Satan.
It's a big week for Satan worship. No, I don't freaking worship Satan. I worship no man and no church and no God except basically I worship my freaking self.
Yeah, you gotta freaking treat your freaking body like a freaking temple, and you were and Taylor is the freaking king of freaking worshiping himself.
Yeah, I worship my freaking self every freaking night. I spend a lot of freaking time worshiping myself, my freaking body, and sometimes I look down and I say, geez Louise, down on my knees, between my trousers, between my freaking legs, there's freaking God sitting right there. And heaven is only afforded to me right at the climax of my freaking worship. Every freaking night. So heaven is not a place you have to look forward to. It's a place that you can achieve at any time, whether you're riding a freaking bus or doing a radio show or sitting in court waiting for your freaking award. You can always achieve heaven between thine freaking legs. So last week, the discovery of a
I have a question really quick. I believe I briefly heard you refer to, and correct me if I'm wrong. Did you say Jesus nipples Christ?
For weekers, yeah, I did. Yeah, I did. Called him.
That's all. I just want to make sure I heard that right.
I was thinking about because he's got the little statues of him. He's got freaking nipples on him. So. Last week, the discovery of a mysterious cat breed on the French island of Corsica has led wildlife experts to believe that they have uncovered a new species known as a cat fox, according to Fox News. Agence France Presse reported that sightings of the mysterious feline have been something of legend in the northern part of the Mediterranean island, but the existence wasn't verified until a cat fox was found in a chicken coop in 2008. Since then, officials have captured at least 12 of the elusive feline. Known as Chat Renard in France, the cat fox measures 35 inches from head to tail with wide ears, short whiskers, and highly developed canines. So, Chat Renard looks like freaking Garfield for people out in freaking Radioland who are wondering what he freaking looks like. Basically a big freaking lasagna-loving freaking cat. Doug Jordan, are you afraid that a cat of this size might end up coming to the U.S.? What are the dangers of a big feline cat like this?
I don't know.
Go ahead.
I guess I'm not why would I be afraid of that?
Do you have any pets? I've never seen you with a freaking pet. I've never seen you with a dog. I've never seen you with a cat.
Yeah, I have a cat.
He's got my freaking cat, freaking Jeremy.
Oh, that's right. Are you afraid that Jeremy, like a cat like this, might try to have sex with Jeremy and then impregnate him, and then you'll have a litter of freaking fox cats?
I mean, yeah, I guess
question,
I could be afraid of that, but I mean, he's in the Mediterranean island, so I don't think he's gonna come over to the U.S. at any point.
Well, how did any of the freaking Italians get here? They jumped on a freaking boat, and they arrived basically on wings of freaking pastrami and freaking spaghetti and freaking meatballs. They basically floated over on an island of spaghetti and meatballs, and they brought their freaking spaghetti and meatballs to the freaking United States so we could all freaking enjoy spaghetti and freaking meatballs.
So you think this cat, a bunch of these cats are going to get together and they're going to build a freaking island of spaghetti and meatballs and float over here?
They're gonna go on a boat, Doug. That's what he was saying. The spaghetti meatballs is a boat.
Yeah, that's the name of the boat. You didn't get that?
Yeah, I went to friggin' Italy, and it's not all friggin' spaghetti and meatballs. They got a lot of food over there.
Well, I'm pretty sure that we've established that is quite in question because geez Louise, down on my knees. You also said you went and ate freaking. You also said you ate Pizza Hut there, and our listeners, Weakers, Tweakers, Thrill Seekers know that Mr. X called in and verified that actually there is no freaking Pizza Hut in Italy.
Yeah, but I had a layover in Portugal, and that's where I had the freaking Pizza Hut.
You said it was in freaking Lisbon.
Which is in Portugal.
I thought freaking Portugal was in freaking South America.
No, Lisbon's the capital of Portugal. I'm pretty sure.
Last week, Kelly Ripa's daughter walked in on her and husband Mark Consuelos during an episode of lovemaking, according to CNN. Ripa explained on Live with Kelly and Ryan that the incident occurred on Father's Day, which coincidentally fell on her daughter Lola's 18th birthday this year. According to her parents, Lola was totally disgusted by witnessing the act and claimed that Ripa and Consuelos have ruined her birthday and her freaking life. So, Doug Jordan, you're the only one here with children that you raise and take care of. Have you ever been getting intimate, maybe with Sanjay? Maybe it looked like you were getting intimate with your wife.
No, he's never walked in on me having sex with my wife. But I was wondering, maybe have you walked in on your parents having sex when you were a kid?
I never walked in on them having sex. No.
Did you ever hide under the bed, or maybe
the way you said that requires further questions. Were you there when they began? Were you there for the duration? Were you under the freaking bed? What?
Listen, for weakers and tweakers out there, when you have a place of solitude as a child, it's a place that you go to where you can be freaking alone and do the things that children need to do when they're all freaking by themselves, touch themselves, play with themselves. Did I play with themselves? I'm not sure if I mentioned touching themselves. That place for me was underneath my parents' freaking bed, and I made myself a fort down there. And my parents had a freaking mirror above their freaking bed. So I had a great freaking view of them when they would have sex. So yes, I have seen my freaking parents have sex. I would peek out of the corner of the freaking bed and look up at the mirror. And one day I caught my freaking father looking right back at me. My mother was on top of him, sitting on him.
What did he do?
He stared at me and he didn't say a freaking word.
Have you ever talked to them about that? Maybe brought that up to your dad?
Doug Jordan, this is not something that I usually get into, but my father and I do not have a very freaking close relationship. I freaking am not a big fan of him, and he is not a fan of and I have not ever been a fan of the choices that he makes, and he has never been a fan of the choices I freaking make, and he is the reason that he took my mother away from me, and now they live on a freaking houseboat in retirement years, and geez Louise, down on my knees, if I could get rid of him, I freaking would. But he's still much stronger than I am, so.
Wow.
Happy freaking Father's Day, Doug Jordan. Thank you. Sandy, have your parents, your father likely killed your mother. Have you ever seen him have sex? I imagine that would be hilarious looking because your father is a freaking
I have seen him freaking have sex. I've seen him have sex with a handful of women, none of which were my freaking mother. But moving from place to place, you get a couple of motel rooms. He couldn't afford two most of the time, so I would be there, and he would pick up who I assume was freaking prostitutes.
Yeah, lady of the night.
And lady of women of the freaking night. And he'd freaking lay into them, and I'd be sitting there, and those some freaking hilarious times.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and Doug, you saw your parents have sex, I imagine? That's how you figured out how to do it at least once?
Yeah, no, I never saw my parents have sex.
Well. Last week, a Florida man who had been charged with burglary defecated during his trial and attempted to throw feces at the judge, according to the Associated Press. "It's protein. It's good for you," the 33-year-old Dorleans Philidor said after missing his intended target. According to Miami-Dade Circuit Court spokesperson Eunice Sigler, Philidor had defecated on himself in a holding cell earlier. After the incident, the courtroom was sanitized. Jurors acquitted Philidor of the burglary charge. So, this guy's a freaking innocent man, and he was just frustrated with the freaking judge, so he threw his freaking poop on her. Now, first thing I want to talk about is Dorleans Philidor is a really freaking cool name. Sounds like he'd be freaking Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
He sounds like he'd be a freaking wizard of some sort, maybe making magical spells that produce endless amounts of feces. Because this guy took a freaking big freaking shit and on himself, and then he's got more freaking shit just waiting inside of him to throw at a freaking judge.
I love that. I love that he came freaking prepared, that he freaking knew to freaking poop himself while he was in the freaking cell, so that he'd have the feces ready to go in his freaking trousers to freaking hurl at the judge. And then they were so blown away by that freaking move, they said, "This guy, we gotta freaking let him freaking go."
Yeah. It's a freaking very moving freaking thing to see a man freaking himself and then freaking throw it at a freaking judge. Doug Jordan, would you maybe invite this man over for freaking dinner?
No, now that I know that this man pooped himself and then saved his poop until he got into the courtroom and then threw it at the judge, I probably wouldn't have him come over for dinner. But I hope
just sanitize the freaking dining room afterwards.
Yeah, no, I don't even want to take the risk.
You know, I would have him over for dinner because I am a charitable human being, and let the record freaking show that I would freaking take care of my fellow freaking man in need of a freaking meal.
Taylor, as a man of yourself that wears diapers, how do you feel about going into the court and maybe throwing your poop around?
I will be wearing a diaper tomorrow morning when I am awarded the award for my excellence in bravery and for my excellence in radio and my excellence in serving this United States of America country. I will be wearing a freaking diaper, and perhaps if I often know that at award ceremonies people throw their hats in the air. Perhaps I will throw my diaper in the air, depending on how filthy it is, as a celebration after I make my speech. So. Shouldn't be a big freaking deal, because obviously this guy freaking did it and got him off for freaking burglary and probably got him off sexually too, speaking.
Yeah, I mean...
And my diaper is often not just filled with freaking poop or pee. There's usually a third freaking thing in there, you know?
Third component.
Yeah. I call it the freaking trifecta, the diaper trifecta. Weakers, tweakers, thrill seekers, this has been a great freaking episode of Our Week in Review, and we are so happy that you came to freaking join us. Geez Louise, down on my knees. You can find us on Facebook, SoundCloud, iTunes, Twitter, freaking Apple Podcasts, YouTube. We do special freaking clips on freaking YouTube. We got a freaking Our Week Media Facebook page in the works. We got a freaking Our Week Geez Louise, down on my knees business page for freaking Instagram coming soon. So stay tuned for all that stuff. Doug Jordan, I just need to know one freaking thing before we go. What is the name of the freaking little man that you hide underneath your freaking bed? Just give me his first freaking name. Just give me his first freaking name, please.
No, because there's no freaking little man under the bed.
How tall is he?
Doug, I have a freaking question for you as well. Freaking in what freaking world? In what freaking world?
Yeah.
Yeah. Where do you freaking get off?
Yeah, and how often do you freaking get off? And what kind of world do you freaking do it? And what is the name of the little man?
In what world and where you freaking get off?
When you are getting freaking off, what freaking world is it? Weakers, tweakers, thrills. Weakers.
I was just gonna ask him if he ever sucked his own freaking penis.
Yeah, and have you ever freaking sucked your own penis? For weakers and tweakers out there, I'm sure they'd love to know. Weakers, tweakers, thrill seekers, we will have to save that freaking answer. Doug Jordan will have it ready for you freaking next week, and we love you all very, very, very freaking much. We will see you freaking next week. What are you gonna say? You have sucked it, haven't you?
No, I haven't sucked my own freaking penis, honestly. But Taylor, have you sucked your own freaking penis?
No.
But you've tried.
Yeah. Sometimes I have freaking dreams that I can suck my own freaking penis, and I wake up very freaking horny and sometimes very freaking wet. So, yeah.
What do you mean by wet? Like you?
It's a wet dream, Doug.
Never freaking heard of it?
No, I was just thinking that you freaking peed your pants.
I like the fact that freaking Taylor's wet dreams are himself, or dreams of him.
Yeah.
Taylor has wet dreams about himself freaking masturbating and sucking his own penis rather than making love to someone.
Best feeling in the freaking world. All right, Doug. Well, just get me the name of that man, and we'll call it a freaking day. Otherwise,